Going really quickly back to last week, blah, 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 blah. I think last week we had Zuko be a ninja, which was really cool, really unexpected, and really gave him the opportunity to showcase his skill outside of just firebending. And thank you, Tall Flipkick. Thank you, kind sir. Thank you, kind sir, which gave him an opportunity to showcase his skills in martial arts outside of firebending, using weapons which are not necessarily native to the Fire Nation. So that goes to show how good he is as a warrior, but obviously where he's lacking is the leadership skills, which is why he is lucky to have his uncle bail him out every single time he does something a little bit, out of line. And the point really strikes home. I remember when he was like saying we have to follow the Avatar, at whatever cost. And all the men on the ship were like, oh my God, this guy's a dick. We should do a mutiny. And then his uncle went down to the hold where all the soldiers were drinking, and he had a talk with them. And he told them about the story of how Zuko caught the burn around his eye. And then, of course, his men began to, give him the benefit of the doubt, because at first they thought he was a spoilt prince that was willing to sacrifice all of his men in order to achieve his objective. And then they began to slowly realize that the reason why he is in this position is because he questioned why the emperor or the dictator or the Fire Lord or whatever you want to call him, you can call him Mein Führer if you want, was willing to sacrifice infantry troops in order to draw out the enemy so he could flank them with their more seasoned soldiers. So they could really begin to see that Zuko was not a, I don't want to say manager, but not like a king in the back lines telling him go in there and die, but more sort of a leader that actually cared about everybody, which is a good trait, but not something necessarily that seems to be valued within the Fire Kingdom. You see, looking at the Fire Kingdom already, it kind of reminds me of the Sith Empire of old, where being emotionless and backstabby and sociopathic is the way to get ahead, whereas, actually caring about people is not seen as the way to go. So, he's lucky he has his uncle around that legitimately cares about him, and his uncle seemed to have cared about him even before he was kicked out. So I have a feeling that the uncle really cares more about Zuko than his father, obviously, and pretty much anyone else. So, he's really lucky to have him. And the point really strikes home because Zuko's like, when his grandfather, not his grandfather, his uncle was in the hot spring, chilling. He's like, make it back to the ship or we're going to leave without you, It sort of like threatened him, and his uncle's like, oh, okay. And then he wakes up a bit later, he's like, oh shit, he probably left without me, But then when he got captured, he obviously like threw his sandal, he let it fall off because he wanted to leave a breadcrumb for his nephew to find him, which went to show that he kind of had a feeling his nephew would look for him, Like his nephew's kind of like barking that he's going to do all these things, but when push comes to shove, he actually cares about his uncle, and he cares about his men, and he cares about his people, which kind of strikes me to feel that Zuko wouldn't necessarily be a tyrannical leader. Obviously he's a prince, but he doesn't strike me as one of those spoilt princes like, that would just not care about anyone, like Marie Antoinette and, all the monarchy that was just really spoiled and really useless, and someone grabbed the guillotine. He kind of strikes me as a person that actually feels for other people. He doesn't just like look up. He doesn't forget the people that are below him, obviously because he's a prince, So, he kind of strikes me as a decent person who's shaped by circumstances, but his heart might be in the right place. That's the kind of vibe that I'm getting, because he doesn't strike me as the type of person that's just going to be cruel for the sake of being cruel, The same way in like episode 1 when he goes to the Water Tribe village, he like lands his ship, obviously, just putting his big thing on the table, but he didn't kill anyone, He didn't burn down the village. He didn't do anything like that. He just went in there with an objective. Here's what I want. Give me what I want. And then he just leaves, sort of thing, He wasn't unnecessarily cruel for the sake of it, whereas some of the other firebenders, particularly the general, who's now the admiral, strikes me as a little bit of a unreasonably sadistic, destructive person for the sake of being destructive. I think he's kind of compensating for something, which is why he's always like ramming horns with Zuko. But, that's kind of it. But, yeah, again, that guy could be a byproduct of his environment as well. He might have had to climb through the ranks of the Fire Nation military hierarchy. And, a hierarchy in such a system is always going to weed out people that care about other people. And it's always going to produce the most sociopathic to the top, which is probably what happened. So, again, don't know much about him, but that's just what it's sort of... That's what I think from what I've seen. I could be wrong, but I don't know. That's just what's in my mind right now. So I'm just sharing it. But I tweeted out earlier this week, and I stand by it, that the uncle is by far my favorite character. I absolutely love that the martial arts are realistic. I absolutely love the banter between the characters. But no one is greater than this man. This man right here. He is the GOAT. He is the greatest of all time. And I've slowly grown to appreciate him more and more. At the beginning, I was a little bit, what's up with this lazy, quirky, old, fat, kind of guy. But now I'm kind of like, when it counts, he can hold his own. He is wise. He's capable. But he knows how to fight, but he also knows when not to fight. And he's very witty. In many scenes, you see him picking up after Zuko. Like when Zuko just barged his way into the tavern with all the, the mercenaries and the sellswords and, quite frankly, being quite rude. They would have been well within their right to beat the shit out of him. 20 on 1. I don't care how good of a fighter you are. That leaves you exposed. And he was kind of just calming the situation. And he demanded from the girl to, find... the Avatar and find this girl. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, you owe me, And she's like, I don't know you shit, kid. And he's like, hey, if you help us find the Avatar, we'll give you your weight in gold. So he's obviously picking up the pieces from his nephew, but he's giving his nephew the opportunity to try, to fail, and to learn. But he's also kind of, guiding him and teaching him and picking up the pieces for probably absolutely no gain for himself. He probably does not care. He demonstrated very early on that the war meetings are boring. He doesn't strike me as the type of person that necessarily wants to sit on the throne and lead the Fire Nation. I guess he's just kind of looking after his nephew. That's the vibe that he's giving off. And he's not necessarily pushing his nephew to, find the Avatar. He's just making sure he grows up properly and doesn't fuck up too much, which is really nice, But I could be wrong. Again, I could be wrong. This is just the vibe that I get off. This is just the vibe that I'm getting off. All right? But honestly, I kind of like Zuko and what's his name? I keep forgetting. Iroh's adventures. I kind of look forward to their adventures more so than Aang's, to be honest. Because... how do I say this without comparing it to Naruto? Aang is just I don't really gel with Aang. Just because he's so carefree, it kind of sometimes just makes me go, just wake up sort of thing, Whereas I kind of like watching these guys' adventures because it's fun. It's genuinely fun. Whereas Aang sometimes just makes me go, oh my god, sort of thing. But again, kids show, it is what it is. I shouldn't be harsh, but it just is what it is. I don't gel with them. It just annoys the shit out of me. Probably because I didn't have a childhood, so I didn't go through that stage of being a kid and doing all those silly things. I mean, by the time I was 12, I already knew how to shoot things and cut things and slit things and other things like that. So, different parts of the world, different experiences. But, just, yeah. So, okay, without me talking too much, hopefully mods have gone through the comments and killed any spoilers. Interesting as an interest of caring for other people to consider the environment of the Fire Nation shapes everyone to be cold-hearted. Yeah, it is kind of a thing, right? It strikes me as a military society. Zuko seems like the type to play the role of what is expected of him when he is not. Well, I mean, look at it from his point of view, right? He got banished as a prince because he, first of all, asked questions. And second of all, he didn't do what his father wanted. And now he's trying to get back into his father's good graces. So he's trying to be the person his father wants him to be, sort of thing, Even if it is an impossible mission. It does make you wonder where that compassion came from. I don't believe that people are not compassionate. I believe that by default, people possess compassion, but the world around them squeezes it out. Like, if you take a look at, you had cameramen and humanitarians visiting the third world, and they would give, like, kids from very poor places like a dessert or something, or a lollipop, and these kids are probably hungry and haven't eaten in days and malnourished, and the first thing the kid does, if you give the kid multiple lollipops, is he'll offer one back to the cameraman. So I genuinely believe human beings by default are capable of being very good, very empathetic, but I think the world around them shapes them to be different. No one is born hateful. No one is born an asshole. I think they learn it. So, everyone has the potential to be good and to be bad. But again, it depends through your experiences and how you get there. So, yeah. You're deceptively good, right? You have to pay attention to the details. I think I'm picking up most of the things. Sometimes I'll watch a few episodes, and then during the course of the week, moments will sort of pop up in my head. Like, oh shit, I remember that. One of those things. All right, cool. Aang is 12. With Naruto, he goes through a series of growth and maturity, to be fair. Yes, I know. But I'll be honest. Characters like Naruto, I don't gel with because they're sometimes unrealistically optimistic. It's a little bit like Gohan prior to the Cell games, where he thinks everyone can be good. I do believe that most people can be good, but there are some people that just choose to be assholes, and you will not change their mind no matter what they do. And when you're stuck with those people, you sometimes just have to, take them off the playing board. If you don't mind me asking, I haven't been keeping up with the reaction stream. But what episode of Dragon Ball Super is Kuma on? I believe like 140 or something. I don't know. 140 or something. Very late. Anyway, Dragon Ball Super is in like 3 hours. So just stick around till then and you'll find out. All right. Cool. We've done the discussion. We're back to last week. Sort of. What was... I was in the middle of it. So yeah. We had Zuko being a ninja. We had the fortune teller of bullshit. Bato of the Water Tribe. Which was Zuko versus Aang again. Great fight. And the uncle just being chill and then pretending to be paralyzed just so he could cuddle the girl. And he's like, Uncle, I didn't see you get hit. And then Zuko's like, shh. And the girl's like, I will murder you. I love it. And then we had the deserter, Firebender Master. And again, oh my God, this general, now admiral, he has lost to Zuko and he has lost to Aang. Now, I get it. Zuko is an exception because he trains his butt off and he has earned whatever abilities he has, and Aang is naturally gifted, but the guy can't control his temper. That's not a good look for anyone commanding people. I mean, the man destroyed his own freaking ships. I mean, he's like a bull. He doesn't think, he just charges. It's not good. It's really not good. Like, and that guy's admiral? What the like, seriously. Zuko, not Zuko. Okay, I gotta fix that. At least I'm remembering most of his name. But, oh my God, that guy's an admiral? Jesus Christ, the Fire Nation is going to shit. I'm sorry, but the Fire Nation is going to shit. So easily angered, so easily manipulated. What's going on? He got manipulated by a frickin' 12-year-old. It's pretty embarrassing, man. But anyway, what would I know about the art of war? Alright, let's continue. To explain Zhao Kuma, say a general that was a failure on his life. Why is he an admiral then? Like, I don't understand it. Like, how did he become admiral? Who is he sleeping with? Is it the emperor? Maybe. I don't know. Like, whatever. Let's not go there.
Water. Earth. Fire. Air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. 100 years passed and my brother and I discovered the new Avatar, an airbender named Aang. And although his airbending skills are great, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to save anyone. But I believe Aang can save the world.
You know, the only thing that would make sense with Zhao is that the Fire Nation Emperor, and I'm going to keep calling him Emperor, did a Stalin and killed all of his generals when he took over to make sure that no one could mount an insurrection. That is the only thing that would make sense. And so all of the generals were just recently promoted, recently raised, and all the people with half a brain within the kingdom were completely decimated so that the emperor could control the nation. And so they are waging war using the numbers advantage, which is very similar to what Stalin did. So I am going to give this anime the benefit of the doubt and say that is what the evil Fire Nation Emperor did. Because if this is the best generals he has, how the fuck did they win all the wars so far? Seriously, F my life. A Northern Air Temple.
So
I think Zhao spent a lot of time on his knees to get promoted that high. Yeah, he's been working a lot of shafts and playing with a lot of balls, that's for sure.
travelers, the next time you think you hear a strange, large bird talking, take a closer look. It might not be a giant parrot, but a flying man. A member of a secret group of airwalkers who laugh at gravity and laugh at those bound to the earth by it.
Aren't Airbender stories the best?
Was it realistic? Is that how it was back then?
I laugh at gravity all the time. Gravity.
Can, like, Aang go 2 minutes without revealing he's an airbender? And I thought they had no money.
Jingle, jingle.
Sorry.
Oh, cheapskates.
Hey, thanks for the story.
Tell it to the cap boy. Aw, much obliged, little bat thing.
It means a lot to hear Airbender stories. It must have been 100 years ago your great-grandpa met them.
What are you prattling about, child? Great-grandpappy saw the airwalkers last week.
What?
Hey, we're almost to the Northern Air Temple. This is where they had the championships for Sky Bison Polo.
Do you think we'll really find airbenders?
You want me to be like you or totally honest?
Are you saying I'm a liar?
I'm saying you're an optimist. Same thing, basically.
I'm sorry, but I can relate to this kid.
Hey, guys, look at this!
So this is basically like Hogwarts for airbenders.
They really are airbenders.
No, they're not.
What do you mean they're not? Those guys are flying!
Gliding, maybe, but not flying. You can tell by the way they move, they're not airbending. Those people have no spirit.
At least they're flying.
I don't know, Aang. That kid seemed pretty spirited.
And he seemed to, like, not use his feet at all.
Ow! We better find some solid ground before it finds us.
Go tail! Show that bald kid how it's done!
What are they doing? Build mock battles? Oh, nice.
Hey there! You're pretty good.
Yeah, I know. But I can do more than fancy gliding.
Wow! I don't think I can do that.
But here's a good one.
Is he gonna draw a giant penis?
What do you think?
It's great.
How can he even see it from the sky? How is he staying in the air for so long? Because fuck physics.
Hey, you're a real airbender. You must be the Avatar. That's amazing. I've heard stories about you.
Thanks.
Wow, this glider chair is incredible.
You'd think this is good. Wait until you see the other stuff my dad designed.
An elevator, eh?
Wow!
Yeah, my dad is the mastermind behind this whole place. Everything's powered by hot air. It even pumps hot air currents outside to give us a lift when we're gliding.
This place is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
No, just unbelievable.
Aang used to come here a long time ago. I think he's a little shocked it's so different.
So better?
Ooh, they desecrated the
It's
artwork.
supposed to be the history of my people.
I'm sure some parts of the temple are still the same.
It's nice to see at least one part of the temple that isn't ruined.
Look out!
What the doodle? Don't you know enough to stay away from construction sites? We have to make room for the bathhouse.
Do you know what you did? You just destroyed something sacred for a stupid bathhouse.
Well, people around here are starting to stink.
This whole place stinks.
Well, they just destroyed the trebuchet.
This is a sacred temple. You can't treat it this way. I've seen it when the monks were here. I know what it's supposed to be like.
The monks? But you're 12.
Dad, he's the Avatar. He used to come here 100 years ago.
What are you doing? Who said you could be here?
Doing here. A long time ago, but not 100 years. My people became refugees after a terrible flood. My infant son, Teo, was badly hurt and lost his mother. I needed somewhere to rebuild, and I stumbled across this place. Couldn't believe it. Everywhere, pictures of flying people, but empty, nobody home. Then I came across these fan-like contraptions.
Our gliders.
Yes, little light flying machines. They gave me an idea. Build a new life for my son in the air. Then everyone would be on equal ground, so to speak. We're just in the process of improving upon what's already here. And after all, isn't that what nature does?
Nature knows where to stop.
I suppose that's true. Unfortunately, progress has a way of getting away from us. Look at the time. Come, the pulley system must be oiled before dark.
Wait, how can you tell the time from that thing? The notches all look the same.
The candle will tell us. Watch.
You put spark powder in the candle.
4 flashes, so it's exactly 4 hours past midday, or as I call it, 4-o candle. If you like that, wait till you see my finger-safe knife sharpener. Only took me 3 tries to get it right. Follow me.
Hey, Aang, I want to show you something.
I just can't get over it. There's
How the fuck did you lose your fingers sharpening a knife? You pushed the blade away from yourself.
not a single thing that's the same.
I don't know about that. The temple might be different, but the creatures that live here are probably direct descendants of the ones that lived here a long time ago.
You're right. They're kind of keepers of the temple's origins.
Besides, there is one part of the temple that hasn't changed at all.
Hey, it's just like the one in the other air temple.
Only an airbender can open it. So inside it's completely untouched.
Just wait till he opens it and they start taking the shit out.
Just the way the monks left it. I've always wondered what it was like in there.
Aang?
I'm sorry. This is the last part of the temple that's the same as it was. I want it to stay that way.
I completely understand. I just wanted you to know it was here.
Thanks.
These lanterns are terrible. I can't see. Why would you want to use fireflies for light?
Hey, close that up! They'll get loose! Fireflies are a non-flammable light source. Cover your nose and hold your breath.
Okay, so you brought me all the way down here to see an empty room.
Wrong. It's filled to the brim with natural gas. Came across it my first time here. Unfortunately, I was carrying a torch at the time. Nearly blew myself and the whole place even more sky high. Thought my eyebrows would never grow back. Anyway, there's a vital problem that needs solving. From time to time, we have gas leaks, and they're nearly impossible to find.
So this place is an explosion waiting to happen.
Yes, until I figure out how to locate something I can't see, hear, smell, or touch.
The wind will carry you. It supports something inside you, something even lighter than air. And that something takes over when you fly.
I've changed my mind. I think I was born without that something.
Impossible. Everybody has it.
Spirit.
What?
That's the something you're talking about.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Are you ready?
No.
So basically, if you let go, you die.
I can't believe I'm flying.
Just make sure you keep your mouth closed so you don't swallow a bug.
Teo was right about the air. All I had to do was trust it. Let it carry me.
Even though Teo's not an airbender, he really does have the spirit of one. I've been thinking, if you want to see what's in that room, I'd be happy to open the door for you.
Great.
Wait! How do I land this thing? What if I land over... Bug! Bug! That was a bug.
I said don't touch anything. Oh, don't worry. That experiment's old. And that egg was just part of last week's lunch.
Weak old egg smell.
Quick, find that egg.
I can't believe I'm finally going to see what's inside.
How can something that's so small you can't even see it make such a big stink?
That's the solution to our problem.
Yeah, if we put a whole mess of rotten eggs in the cellar where the gas seeps up,
The gas will mix with the smell of rotten eggs.
then if there's a leak,
You smell rotten eggs. Then you just follow your nose to the place where the smell is coming from.
and plug up the hole where the gas is escaping.
You're a genius! Something's wrong. I've got to go.
This is a nightmare.
You don't understand.
You're making weapons for the Fire Nation.
How did he open the door?
You make weapons for the Fire Nation?
Explain all this. Now!
It was about a year after we moved here. Fire Nation soldiers found our settlement.
I was gonna say, if the Fire Nation soldiers attacked all the air temples, how the F are these people living in an air temple peacefully? And now it makes sense.
You were too young to remember this tale. They were going to destroy everything, burn it to the ground. I pleaded with them. I begged them to spare us. They asked what I had to offer. I offered my services. You must understand, I did this for you.
Would you have preferred death, kid?
When are they coming?
Soon. Very soon.
You can't give them more weapons.
If I don't give them what they want, they will destroy this place.
How can I be proud of you when your inventions are being used for murder?
I need some time to think. You need to leave. Go!
We're not leaving.
Then hide, quickly.
You know better than to keep me waiting. Give me what you owe us so I can be on my way. Well, is there a problem?
No, right this way.
Of
The
course.
deal's off.
The Avatar.
Aang, don't get involved.
If I don't get what I came for, the Fire Nation will burn this place to rubble.
Get out of here! You're leaving empty-handed.
Then the destruction of this temple will be on your head.
Aang, you just pissed off a Fire Nation dude, told him the deal's off, he sees that you're the Avatar, and you're letting him leave. See why Aang pisses me off? Even I wasn't this stupid as a kid. Aang, I place the death of all your people on your shoulders. It is all your fault. And that is not even over-exaggerating. And I blame all of the deaths of all of the people that are going to die in the coming episode on your hands. This is also your fault.
This is bad. Very bad.
Aang, what are we gonna do? How can we possibly keep them all away?
I'll tell you how. We have something they don't. Air power. We control the sky. That's something the Fire Nation can't do.
What, so we're doing a World War II now?
We can win.
I want to help.
Good. We'll need it.
Alright, we need to make some napalm.
We finally got the war balloon working thanks to Sokka. This boy's a genius.
Thank you. You're a genius.
Thank you.
See, the problem with the old war balloon was you could get it airborne, but once you did, it just kept going. You could put a hole in the top, but then all the hot air would escape. So the question became, how do you keep a lid on hot air?
Ugh, if only we knew.
A lid is actually the answer. If you control the hot air, you control the war balloon.
That's actually pretty smart.
Okay, we got 4 kinds of bombs. Smoke, slime, fire, and...
Stink. Never underestimate the power of stink.
What about mustard gas?
They're coming!
Are we ready?
Yes, but where's Sokka with the war balloon?
We'll have to start without it.
This would be like the easiest position to defend. They're all in a single file.
Take them out of the sky, now!
Wait, so you were gonna take them out of the sky by poking a spear at them? What about archers? What about crossbows? You got a ballista? Like, what are they doing? Are they just, like, trying to poke him with a stick? Are you serious? And causing an avalanche to commit mass murder. What about firebending? But the guys holding the weapons typically don't firebang. Aang doesn't kill, by the way. He caused an avalanche.
We've got him on the run! We need more slime!
There's the ballista. Well, they have tanks! Wait, the Fire Nation has tanks? This is World War II. I'm so confused by the technology in this anime. That's a clever design. That is fucking clever.
Those things are unstoppable!
I think I know how they work. I remember my dad tinkering with the counterbalancing system. Something to do with water. Works great, huh?
Water? Can you get me close to one?
No problem.
I'm surprised how the infantry's all standing at the back while the tanks are getting owned, instead of just charging her. I would just charge her and just spear her to death, but anyway. What's the infantry doing? They're just standing there!
We're out of bombs!
Come on, Sokka. Where's that war balloon?
Why are you going down? Height is your friend.
Why aren't they shooting at us?
The insignia! They think we're on their side.
But... fucking... Oh, what's that? Oh, it's a fucking something floating in the sky. Is it the enemy? Nah, it's got our insignia on it. Must be one of ours. Fuck. No wonder the idiot's an admiral. Fucking idiots like this. Oh my god. I can't even. Oh, okay. Anyway.
Then I guess they won't see this coming.
Bombs away!
Oh no! That was the last one!
Wait a second. You smell that?
Rotten eggs! There! That's where the gas is escaping!
But you came up with the idea for the rotten eggs at the end. You didn't have the time to implement it. Much less enough time for the smell to accumulate. Much less having time to accumulate. Fuck it.
What are you doing? That's our fuel source.
It's the only bomb we've got.
But it's not going to ignite without a spark. Wouldn't that destabilize the entire mountain and cause a mass avalanche and possibly bring down the entire fortress? Because the gas is going all the way inside under the fortress.
Look! They're retreating!
Yeah! We're going down!
No! Sokka! Hold on!
But I thought fuck gravity.
Get ready!
You know what? I'm really glad you guys all live here now. I realized it's like the hermit crab. Maybe you weren't born here, but you found this empty shell and made it your home. And now you protect each other.
That means a lot, coming from you.
Aang, you were right about air power. As long as we've got the skies, we'll have the Fire Nation on the run.
What did he do? Oh no, they got the tech.
This defeat is the gateway to many victories.
Nice work, jackass! This I blame on Aang. It's fascinating that the Fire Nation could be a superpower when the army is this incompetent. It's actually not. It doesn't strike me that the other nations were gearing up for war. It looks to me like most of the other nations were just chilling and using earthbending, waterbending, and airbending to just chill. And then the Fire Nation's like, guys, this may sound crazy, but hear me out here. We seize their territory. And then the Fire Nation was like, I'm just saying. It doesn't strike me like the other nations had a standing army, military training, military tactics, or anything like that. It sounds to me like the Fire Nation just geared up for war, got ready, and then just did a blitzkrieg. And everyone was just like, what? And because everyone was just chilled, separated, divided, not ready, they just got steamrolled. And once the Fire Nation got momentum, they just steamrolled. And they just took everything. And then they needed the Avatar to hold them back, and he ran away. So, you know. That's what it seems like to me. Yeah. Then they got a major tech advantage too. Well, like, yeah, fire equals steam. Fire equals the ability to cook. You know, it's also very destructive. You can also weld metal if you can make it, you know, hot enough. So you've automatically pretty much tamed an element that's vital. I mean, yes, the earthbenders can build fortresses and create avalanches and dig pits. The waterbenders could use water. The airbenders could fly. But fire is, like they said in one of the previous episodes, very destructive. Like, if you have a drought in an area and things are very dry, you could set fire to the entire forest. Like, if you've got a particular fortress in the middle of the forest, the Fire Nation doesn't even have to march there. They could just set fire to the whole forest and burn them alive, you know? It strikes to me like a lot of the villagers used wood to build because it's, you know, it's easier to work with. And again, the firebenders could just burn it. So, you know, and if the waterbenders were living in the Arctic where there's ice, again, the firebenders could melt it. So the firebenders had this unbelievable advantage when it came to conducting war. The Earthbenders might be able to, construct walls and ditches and cancel out the fire, but I think the Fire Nation would have had the numbers advantage, and then they could have just fought a war of attrition because the Earth Nation might rely on trade because, lots of earth, not a lot of water. And so the Fire Nation could just encircle them and just siege them for a decade until they run out of food, So, there's a lot of ways the Fire Nation could have done it. A lot of ways. The Avatar was there to keep balance initially. Makes sense that they didn't have armies. The Avatar disappearance made the other nations hopeless and devastated, I think. The dichotomy of fire is that while it is destructive, it is also a path to progress. Sucks that waterbenders need physical access to water. Everyone else practically has their element available to them anywhere. What about earthbenders though? Well, true, Earth is freaking everywhere. But to be fair, there is a lot of water everywhere too. Because without water, you cannot sustain life. So there would be access to water, near almost any major city. You would need water. There would be wells, at the very least, or a stream or something. The opening move, Roku said, was a comet-enhanced brutal supplies blitzkrieg against the air temples. Well, if that's how you opened up your war, you took a massive comet, you took out an air temple, you've just taken out a bunch of airbenders that could potentially have air superiority against you. So you've hit them with a surprise attack, you've thrown them off balance, you potentially assaulted the other air temples. Mind you, they would have prepared for the war. They would have already had a plan in place. Whereas everyone else would be scurrying to try to hold them back. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where someone drops a bomb on you. People lose their shit. Let's just put it that way. So, imagine this happening globally. Good luck getting people to organize the defense. Everyone's too busy running for their lives. So, the Fire Nation would have had a massive advantage. First of all, no one else would have known the attack was coming. Second of all, you hit them hard and very fast with no warning. And third, they're going to struggle to scramble to organize any sort of defense, which they're not even trained to do. So, you've just blitz them, Air temples are also amazing strategic locations, as we've just seen. Unless the enemy has tanks, they are pathetically easy to defend. But here's the thing, right? You don't necessarily have to take the air temples first. You could take everything else and leave the air temples last. You could just encircle the air temples and deprive them of their food and water supply. The air temple doesn't necessarily strike me as a place where you can readily get water because A, it is above the clouds. So if you deprive them of water, they'll starve to death. You deprive them of food, they'll starve. You don't have to take a strategic location. You just have to isolate it and siege it. There's more than one way to win a war. And by having fire under your belt, you could scorch earth the crap out of places. And you can control the food and water supply. Yes, but remember, Kuma, the air temple had Aang. In this scenario, yes. But what about all the other air temples? They didn't. Like we saw, they were abandoned. The air temples were abandoned. So they left. They didn't try to hold out at the air temple. They must have left for a better strategic location because they would have known that without food and water, you're kind of fucked. Or they just would have kept moving. Air nomads live only in air temples as kids, and elders the rest of the time travel the world. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, the Fire Nation would have had a huge advantage, and they wouldn't have had a lot of resistance to put up with. No one would have been expecting them, right? So, everyone was living in peace until the Fire Nation's like, fuck y'all, They basically just started doing DMCA strikes when no one suspected it. True, that temple was abandoned while the Southern Temple was massacred. Well, not every fort is worth holding. No one expects the Fire Inquisition. No one ever does. No one ever does.
Hey, did I hand you a shrinking potion by accident? I could have sworn that was the gender swapping one.
Don't be hating. She's fun size, that's all. She doesn't even have to get on her knees to blow.
You want to add anything to that conversation?
Nope, I'm good. In fact, I think your new size makes you an even more formidable and stealthy ninja.